Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Alisha Shazana and my metric number is 1815.94, and today I will present about the public finance among Western and Islamic perspective. Public finance is very important in our society as it serves the right of the society and enhance the social well-being of our mankind. The existence of the public finance has been discovered the previous decades in order to serve society. Generally, public finance can be defined as the study of the government activities, which consists of the spending, consumption, taxation, and also deficits. The objective of the public finance are to perceive when, why, and how the government should interfere in the current economy and take into consideration the possible outcomes of making changes in the market. Before the period of Great Depression, the function of public finance was considered to be sufficient enough in order to carry out the government functions in terms of administration and as a defense from foreign countries. However, after the passing of the Great Depression period, there was an opinion that the function of public finance should be changed. It is because the classical view of public finance could not fulfill the requirement in certain situations. And it was realized that the tax that had been imposed by the government and spending policies should be implied in alleviating economic fluctuations. Furthermore, public borrowing that makes the public debt tend to increase in the period of depression. Hence, it will raise the aggregate demand and therefore, it would increase the level of income and employment. This statement also supported by Kenms because Kenms demonstrated that deficit financing could recover the contractionary economy by creating income and employment even more than the previous one due to the multiplier process. As we know, Richard Musgrave perceived his opinion that the public economic policy should have three basic objectives. First and foremost is to establish an efficient allocation of resources. The second one is to attain the desired distribution of income and wealth. And last but not least, to maintain high and stable levels of employment and outputs. The word comes from Arabic, which called as kharaj, which means taxation that is related on land, irrespective of whether the owner is minor or adult, free or slave, Muslim or non-Muslims. So basically, Abu Yusuf received some economic talks about public finance. He also provides some guidance in some topics such as rules in conducting war and peace, military rules and regulations, responsibility of rulers and officials towards the general public welfare and postal, other communication system of the state, and so on. Other than that, it also stressed about some particular topic to be discussed that are relevant to contemporary economics. As we know, kharaj also is one of the public finance, one of the sources of the public finance in Islamic economic system because it's one of the main sources in order to get the revenues for the government in Islamic state. Abu Yusuf also came up with the proposed method which is called fair rates taxation. What is the meaning of the fair rates taxations? Fair rates taxation is appear because according to him, this is the best approach to impose a fair and low fixed rate for sharing the land produce in order to protect the taxpayers' farmers from excesses and exploitation from other parties. Abu Yusuf also said that the tax should not be raised or lowered by the central government and the local administrators and tax collectors. Abu Yusuf also stressed that the leaders of the Islamic State has the big responsibility of pursuing every possible avenue to promote the common good for its citizens and economic welfare for the populations. To be put in a nutshell, it can be clearly seen that in Islamic perspective on public finance, their objective is more to serve justice and fairness toward the people who pay for the tax. Other than that, in Islamic perspective as well, they also take care of well-being of the taxpayers as well as the tax collectors by preparing several principles and guidelines in order to ensure that the justice and fairness is served well towards the society and prevent an exploitation towards the taxpayers and also tax collectors. Meanwhile, in conventional perspective towards public finance, they are more likely to focus on the economics model and also the well-being of the economy for that particular country. However, they did not take into account the society's perspective on the imposed tax, whether the tax is affordable for them to pay or otherwise. Despite this, it would not serve justice and fairness toward the society, as the society do not have the right to voice out their concern on the tax that had been imposed on them. Hence, generally, both Islamic perspective and conventional perspective towards public finance have the same definition and different objective, in which an Islamic perspective is more to promote social welfare in accordance with the Maqasid Syariah. Meanwhile, the conventional or Western perspective is more to sustain the flow of the revenues for the economy.